Hello, Buzzers. Welcome to Sci-Fi Buzz. Thank you, Susan. Could you iron that shirt next time, though? My goodness. It is Sci-Fi Buzz. I'm your host, Mike Jarek, and boy, I want to tell you right off the top here that one of our superheroes is in big trouble. Spider-Man himself is caught in a web of lawsuits. 4 big movie companies. Let's see, which ones are they? Carolco, Viacom, Columbia TriStar, Home Video, and 21st Century are all suing each other to put Spider-Man on the big screen. They all want him. And I hear MGM might get involved before it's all over. Well, don't despair, because Fox, good old Fox TV, is going to put on a series of Spider-Man cartoon specials. They said, don't tell anybody out there in the audience when they're going to be, but the heck with that. You know me. The first one is going to air on Fox in November, so watch for that. Now, one of our superheroes that has not had a tough time making the transition to the big screen, I'm sure you've heard all about it, Jean-Claude Van Damme is drop-kicking and kickboxing his way into the future as Time Cop.
I ran dozens of simulated launches, but I never noticed that wall before.
Simulated?
Yeah, this is my first real launch.
Great. Don't stick your head out of the window.
Belgian bodybuilder turned action star Jean-Claude Van Damme has found modest success flexing his muscles in sci-fi flicks like Cyborg and Universal Soldier. But with the new futuristic thriller Time Cop, he hopes to attract a broader audience to finally launch his career into the stratosphere. Van Damme plays time enforcement cop Max Walker. It's the year 2004, and time travel has become a reality. Walker's job is to make sure no one goes back and tries to alter the course of history.
Got to take you back.
Why do you suppose this time travel storyline, you know, Back to the Future and all that, why is it so intriguing for people?
It's a great concept. And also you have the knowledge of the future. You can go back in the past and teach them or impress them with something. It will happen in a month from now. You'll become like, whoa, that guy is like a genius or something.
Who are you? Oh, sent you.
The visual effects devised for Time Cop's time travel sequences presented the cast with some unique challenges. For instance, motion control cameras were needed to create what's called a twinning effect. In these scenes, Van Damme and co-star Ron Silver confront themselves in the past within the same shot. Is it a different acting method to be in something so effects heavy?
You have to be patient, and you have to obey to time. And you have to follow a path, especially when I'm with myself in the picture. The young Walker and the old Walker. Same for Ron Silver. So you have to time the dialogue. You talk to somebody who's not there. It's very technical.
Is it hard?
No, because you have if you have a great technician with you, they know what they're talking about. You just know what's going on. Plus, Peter knew that stuff well, you know.
Action. Peter is Peter Hyams, Time Cop's director. A veteran of sci-fi films like 2010 and Outland, Hyams is no stranger to special effects, but he admits coming up with a fresh angle on time travel was no easy feat.
You know, I didn't want someone to be beamed up or popping on, popping off like I Dream of Jeannie or something like that. So I was trying to come up with something that nobody had ever seen before. And I am this inveterate sketcher, so I drew a lot and drew a lot and drew a lot, and began to think of when I was a kid there were these things about breaking the sound barrier. And it was the idea of a barrier that suddenly became very interesting to me, so I thought maybe there's a time barrier.
Hyams eventually hit on the notion of a liquid optical distortion for the time travel sequences.
Because we are at this age now where there is computer-generated graphics and imagery, I could do it. So when I drew it, I went, oh, I could actually do this.
Is it difficult? Like every time somebody came through, like Jean-Claude came through, how long would that take? Days to do?
Oh, more, weeks.
Oh, really?
Oh,
weeks?
Sure. Oh, sure.
For something that lasts 10, 15 seconds.
And it costs hundreds of dollars, too. You can put any image in the world you want on screen. There's absolutely nothing you can't put on screen.
Up to this point, Time Cop has only been part of a Dark Horse Comics anthology series, but next year he will have his very own 4-part miniseries. Congratulations, Tom.
My name's Jeff McFarlane. I'm calling from San Francisco, California. Anyone who's in the least bit interested in science fiction, science fact should read I, Asimov, a memoir, a posthumously published autobiography that offers much insight about this prolific author of 470 books. Definitely a must for the Sci-Fi library.
Forrest Gump buoy. Lon Chaney Sr. did the same special effects 70 years earlier. And science fiction novelist Greg Bear next. Gary Sinise has earned rave reviews for his portrayal of a double amputee in the summer tearjerker Forrest Gump. Audiences were awed by the eerie realism of his character's disfigurement. Of course, Sinise's commitment to the role didn't transcend anything beyond good acting. The illusion of amputation was accomplished through the magic of computer technology. But back in 1920, long before the digital revolution hit Hollywood, screen legend Lon Chaney Sr. was wowing audiences with his performance as a double amputee in the film The Penalty.
He did strap his legs up to walk behind his, to walk on his knees, and it was a very uncomfortable harness.
The silent screen star is currently being honored on a postage stamp in recognition of his roles in such classics as The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Phantom of the Opera. Author Michael Blake got hooked on Chaney after seeing the actor's film bio, Man of a Thousand Faces, when he was 10.
Lon Chaney brought to the public how important makeup was in creating a role. I mean, imagine The Hunchback of Notre Dame with no makeup, or imagine The Phantom of the Opera with no makeup.
After years of hearing tall tales about his idol, Blake decided to get down to business and dispel the myths. The result is his comprehensive biography, Lon Chaney, The Man Behind the Thousand Faces, released last year by Vestal Press.
A lot of the myths of what Lon did for his makeup really surfaced after his death, and it's all a bunch of baloney. I hate to say it, but some of it sounds really great. I remember hearing that when Lon did The Phantom of the Opera, he used celluloid discs in his cheekbones. Well, I dug some sort of thing up that looked like a celluloid disc. I filed it down. I did this, I did that, and I stuffed it in, supposedly into my cheekbones. I no more looked like the Phantom of the Opera. I looked like I had a real bad case of the mumps. And for the Hunchback, they say he wore a 70-pound. I've heard, first off, it started at 40 pounds. Then it went to 70 pounds. I'm waiting for somebody to say it was 180 pounds. It's not true. It was made out of plaster of Paris. It was not made out of rubber. And it weighed no more than 20 pounds. But it takes nothing away from the master of the makeup. It just simplifies it a lot.
Born to deaf parents in Colorado Springs, Chaney began his theatrical career as a prop boy at the local opera house. But to the dismay of loyal fans like Blake, until recently the town had never honored their native son.
His hometown has tended to shun him, tended not to remember his memory. When I was up there doing research on the book, they had no monuments built to him. They didn't name a street after him, nothing. And I wrote a letter while I was up there on some hotel stationery to the mayor, walked it over, and a couple of weeks later got a call from somebody in the city public relations department. And we wound up getting the Lon Chaney Theater dedicated for him in the city auditorium.
Well, how are you today, Tommy? Oh, I'm feeling fine, thank you.
Chaney died at 47 at the height of his career, having just starred in his first talkie, The Unholy Three. His only son, Creighton, later known as actor Lon Chaney Jr., once recalled the mood in the film community upon his father's death.
Creighton once said, shortly after his father's funeral, he said, everyone showed up, the studio shut down for a moment of silence, and then they all went back to work and forgot my father.
Today, with selfless determination, Michael Blake continues to reclaim respect and understanding for his hero, Lon Chaney.
This is the Wizard. I'm calling from Long Island, New York, to recommend a fascinating videotape called Fire and Ice by Ralph Bakshi. It's a great science fiction tale, tremendous animation, an adult theme, great videotape that many people have overlooked.
I'm going to put a scenario across to you here that puts all of this into a cocked hat.
Author Greg Bear just loves to plant the seeds of outrageous outcomes. And with his Hugo Award-nominated novel, Moving Mars, Bear's audacious scenarios are taking root, making him one of science fiction's new masters. Bear says he's been on this path from the beginning.
I think one of the key moments in my life was when I was 7 years old, watching a movie by a man named Ray Harryhausen called 20 Million Miles to Earth. And going home that evening and having nightmares where his monster, the Emer, comes out of the wall at me and says, I'm going to eat you. And I woke up screaming and I said, boy, that's for me. And I've been confirmed ever since.
When Bear says confirmed, he means it. For this author, science fiction is far more than a label.
Science fiction is a family, a rather extended family. It's like a cult religion for secular intellectuals. And we are very interested in nurturing our young.
It's no wonder Bear perceives his field as one big happy family. His father-in-law is Poul Anderson, another member of the science fiction vanguard. And like Anderson, Bear is a hard science fiction writer with an unrelenting thirst for knowledge. But that doesn't mean Bear keeps his nose buried in the cold netherworld of facts and figures.
Yes, I've been heavily influenced by what some people would call the softer sciences, anthropology, psychology, and also by those disciplines that aren't really sciences at all, but art forms, cultural studies, mythology, religious studies. I've always been interested in these. I was a fan of Joseph Campbell before he was interviewed at Skywalker Ranch and became the guru of the New Age. I've absorbed nearly all the world's religions and tried to find the essence of them because they're a basic part of humanity. You cannot understand a culture or a character unless you put them in a cultural context.
And what is Greg Bear's cultural context? Let's just say that Bear is rarely more at home than when he's exchanging ideas with his readers and colleagues. For Bear, a convention is as comfy cozy as a church picnic.
In my upbringing, with my connections, I actually feel connected with virtually all the fan groups that come together. I love movies. I was raised on television, so I'm a media fan. I love books, right up to and including the most esoteric you can name. So I'm attached to the effete literary snobs. I love costuming. I love special effects. I love nearly all the aspects that fandom hooks itself into, and have deep relationships in these things. And so I feel that I can never be bored at a convention, and I can never meet people who are boring.
Thank you, Brother Bear. After this mind meld with the sponsors, we'll see just how much we can spend at StarCon. This is StarCon. Now, this is a collectibles convention, one of my favorites, because it's just a wonderland of memorabilia from science fiction, fantasy, and horror. You should see what people collect and how much money they'll spend to collect it. In fact, I got to get to work. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. I'm trying to get to the Star Trek and Star Wars stuff here. Hi, Greg, how are you doing?
Good.
Boy, look at all this stuff. How much is this game right here? I've always wanted that one.
It's only 50.
Oh, 50 bucks! Goodness gracious. How about that Star Wars gun up there? I like that, the laser pistol. Let me take a look at that.
Sure.
Is this the one that was actually in the movie?
I'm not sure.
Don't lie to me, Greg. $150?
It's only $150, just like the day it came off the shelf.
Boy, that's like putting a gun to my head. What are you folks looking at?
I am looking at Star Wars action figures.
Oh, these are cool.
Definitely.
Okay, turn around here. Who are you?
I am Ryan Hinsman.
From?
From West Covina. I came all the way out here to get Star Wars figures.
Why are you so into Star Wars?
Because the movies are terrific.
Yeah?
They get you and they grab you and just take you off in another place.
Are you on medication?
Some say I am, but I'm not.
Now, what have you gotten so far?
I've gotten Boba Fett's air ship.
Yeah.
I got the Millennium Falcon.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Thing. $25 for the both of these.
For both?
For both. Can you believe
Boy,
that?
you'd think
the price is here.
So, who's coming up here, kids or adults?
About half and half.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who buys?
Everybody's spending pretty freely. When they see what they want, they don't hesitate to put the money down.
Okay, these cards, when you have a complete set of this, is $1,500.
This costs $350 because it's exactly like the original ones.
Oh, ma'am. Hi, Mike Jarrett, Sci-Fi Buzz. What'd you get? What'd you get?
Avengers stuff, Blade Runner stuff.
Avengers and Blade Runner. How much money did you spend?
About $50.
50 bucks?
Yeah.
On this stuff?
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because I love it.
Yeah.
You can't find it anywhere else.
Are you through, or is 50 bucks the limit?
No, I'm not through yet.
No?
There may be a Blade Runner game for 55 that I'm considering.
Do you do this a lot?
More than I should.
So what's your house look like?
Tons of bookshelves with tons of books and 1999 spaceships on it and Star Trek props and all that kind of stuff.
How did this happen to you?
Young age, it must have been.
Oh, it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's the husband's fault.
Yes, I'm the geek in the family, yes, that's me.
Okay, now, so what are you selling?
Me?
When fans come up, What's the number one question they ask?
They said, as my favorite movie, it scared me half to death. And he said, and my child, now I showed it to my child, and it frightened him too. They said it holds up and it still frightens people.
What frightens me is the enormous amount of cash people are willing to pay for this stuff. I'd better get out of here before I go Wait a minute. The Leonard Nimoy album I've been looking for? Look at this. Shatner comes alive. Oh, this is exciting. I hope I have enough cash on me. When we rematerialize, you'll see Harlan Ellison's commentary next. Certainly has his fans. Whoa. And some detractors. Just checking America Online here, just to see what you think of him every now and then. No matter what you think of him, love him or hate him, you got to admit, he is a gutsy guy who's not afraid to speak his mind like this.
You know, one of the things that always gets my goat, somebody gets the Academy Award and they say, you know, they go up to accept and they say, save the whales, or they say, don't shoot Native Americans, it's bad, or it's not really good to give AK-47s to kids. And invariably, some bonehead will object to them having said it at the Oscars. They'll say it's the wrong venue, it's the wrong place, it's the wrong forum. What do you mean it's the wrong forum? 186 billion people are watching the Oscars? That's the wrong forum? No, that's the right forum. If you want someone to hear what you have to say, you pick the best venue. You don't go and get yourself a cigar box out on a street corner and shout at someone and hope that 3 people will hear you. But whenever they don't want to talk about what it is you're talking about, they attack where it was you said it, or the manner in which you said it, or your manner of delivery, or, gee, he's not a very good guy. That's called an ad hominem attack. I'm back, folks, and I'm back for the science fiction writers of America. They think the problem will go away if they don't talk about it. They think I'll go away if they don't talk about it. It ain't going away, and I'm not going away. Since we last got together, when I talked to you about that idiotic rule that SFWA has, in which they can only give out 6 Grandmaster Awards in every 10 years, thereby ensuring that some of the greatest writers in the field will die before they ever get their due, nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. A couple of people went on the computer nets. One of them said, if Ellison doesn't like what SFWA is doing, he should rejoin. No, I don't have to rejoin. I helped form the organization. I was the first vice president. I also do not approve of the Fourth Reich skinheads or the Ku Klux Klan, but I don't have to join them to point out that they're dips. SFWA is still sitting and talking. They're still jawing. They're discussing it. Yeah, they're discussing it. They've only been discussing it for 10 years. We're not talking here nuclear holocaust, folks. We're not talking here putting someone on the moon. What we're talking about is altering a rule, changing a rule, so that people can get the Grandmaster Award who deserve it, people who are moving on in age and whose health is not good. I talked to you the last time about 4 of them. There's A.E. Van Vogt, who's 82 years old. There's Bob Sheckley and Kate Wilhelm, each of whom are 66 years old. And there's Paul Anderson, who's 68 years old. And I forgot to mention, by the way, and I don't want to let it slide, Jack Vance. Some of the most brilliant books ever written in the field, written by Jack Vance. Jack Vance is now 78 years old, and he hasn't gotten his Grandmaster either. What I'm saying is change the rule. Change the rule. Get these people their awards now. Now, this position has many adherents in SFWA. There are an awful lot of letters that I've gotten, an awful lot of phone calls, and a lot of people in SFWA whose names, you know, they don't want their names to be known because they're afraid that someone will attack them the way they attack me, who are saying exactly the same thing. Get these people the awards now before they die, so that we don't have a, you know, Catherine Moore, who died at the age of 76, never having gotten a Grandmaster. Or Chad Oliver, who died last year at the age of 65, never got one. Or Avram Davidson, who died at the age of 70, never got one. Folks, Jack Vance is 78. He should be added to A.E. Van Vogt and Kate Wilhelm and Paul Anderson and Robert Sheckley. And as long as we're at it, you know this guy? Philip Jose Farmer? Philip Jose Farmer wrote The Lovers. Philip Jose Farmer, who was voted a Hugo as the best new writer in, I don't know, 1953, I guess it was. Look at that. To Your Scattered Bodies Go. Phil Farmer is 76, folks. You want to deny him, too? And Jack Vance, and Kate Wilhelm, and Paul Anderson, and A.E. Van Vogt? Get off your ass, SFWA. Do something, and do it now. Stop talking.
Did he just say ass? Can you say ass on TV?
Mike, I think you should stop continuing to say act until you find out if it's okay to say act.
Well, maybe he just meant donkey, like get off your donkey or something like that. And
sure, right.
Well, let's find out if you can say act or not on TV. I mean, call the guy and tell Harlan not to say it until we find out if he can say it or not. What, Chris, would you do it? Colleen, call Harlan. My God. What are y'all afraid of him? What is with the staff? Susan, you call Harlan.
You call Harlan.
Oh, I'm not calling Harlan. He'll kick my
He's one of the most talented and prolific science fiction writers ever. Meet Frederick Pohl when one of our favorite Buzz episodes returns. The Best of the Buzz, next.